There are things that no longer make sense because you told us to trust you. We did. And now, how many years later that we have this technology, we know less than we did because now more of us are capable of finding this stuff out on our own. So places are locked down for us to go. Like, there should be absolutely no reason that national parks are closed off to public.
Right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You are here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. In case you're wondering why the sips aren't happening, I kind of intentionally stopped. It wasn't really feeling right, but then I realized we're in spring. So spring is all about rebirth and the excitement. So we're kind of jumping into it more. Okay, so
you were
don't think that there are things that aren't going to happen when we get to the fall months. Like, I already have ideas for October. There will be different intros for that. This is because we're entering spring and we're showing our excitement. So yeah, I did notice I didn't do it on the 1st. And then I was like, that was intentional without me knowing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing that.
Intentionally unintentional.
Yeah. But we are in the first day of week 2 of March.
Right.
So we are in the hero or the tested hero. So the month of trials and destiny. And now we are at the week that's all about the tests. So we are at the test and we ended it by taking the step forward in the call. We took a step. Now we're standing at the gate today.
Yeah.
So spring is all we've talked about. It's all about renewal, but it's all about seeing beyond what we can visually see, seeing the signs, feeling them. We're going to see that a little bit in our stories today, but also acknowledging our surroundings. And are we safe? Are we in danger? Am I being presented with opportunities? That's what all of our spring is about. So it's awesome because it's springtime to me kind of symbolizes the light at the end of the tunnel. When you're just crossing in and you're finally feeling the sun hit you, that's what spring feels like to me. We haven't fully embraced the sun, but we are out of the darkness.
Right.
And we get to breathe, so we get to be excited. So with that, today we are standing at the gate though. Okay, so there's so many different gates in folklore, right? And we'll talk about our favorite gate that we created using folklore today, but we had to narrow it down like usual to 4. So there's some obvious gatekeepers, that we might want to see, but we need to keep in mind that we're looking at the gate itself. So I'm going to just go ahead and spoiler alert you that you're not going to see Anubis today. You're not going to see any of those that are deeper within the realms today. But we're going to look at that through Greek, Egyptian, Japanese, and Duwamish folklore today. We're at the gate, but we're looking at the theme of entry denied. Okay, so think about that, entry denied today. And we'll see you after these 4 stories.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that.
Story 1. Cerberus guards the gates of Hades. In Greek mythology, the boundary between the world of the living and the realm of the dead was not easily crossed. The underworld, ruled by Hades, lay far beneath the earth. Souls of the dead traveled there after passing the river Styx, with the ferryman Charon. Once a soul entered this domain, return was nearly impossible. The entrance itself was guarded. Standing at the gates was Cerberus, the monster hound whose duty was absolute. Ancient poets described him as a massive dog with 3 heads, a serpent for a tail, and snakes twisting along his back. His eyes burned with watchful intensity. Cerberus had one task: prevent the dead from leaving. The Greeks imagined death not simply as a distant destination, but as a realm with strict boundaries. Cerberus represented that boundary. No soul passed him without permission. The living could not wander freely into the underworld, and the dead could not escape it. The creature was not evil in the sense of chaos or malice. He was a guardian. Many heroes encountered him during journeys that tested their worth. Each meeting with the hound became a trial of courage, strength, or wisdom. One of the most famous confrontations occurred during the final labor of Heracles, known to the Romans as Hercules. As punishment for past crimes, Heracles had been ordered to complete 12 impossible tasks. The 12th and final labor required him to descend into the underworld and bring Cerberus back to the surface. No mortal had accomplished such a feat. Heracles first sought permission from Hades himself. According to myth, the god agreed under one condition: the hero must subdue Cerberus without using weapons. This meant confronting the monstrous guardian with only his strength. When Heracles approached the gates, Cerberus lunged forward with all 3 heads snapping and the serpent tail whipping violently. Yet the hero wrapped his arms around the creature and wrestled him into submission. The struggle was brutal, but eventually Cerberus yielded. Heracles carried the guardian to the world above before returning him safely to the underworld. The encounter showed that the gate could be crossed, but only by one who proved worthy. Other figures faced the guardian in different ways. The musician, Orpheus, seeking to retrieve his wife, Eurydice, did not fight Cerberus. Instead, he played his lyre so beautiful that the creature lay down peacefully, allowing him to pass. The gatekeeper could be overcome by strength or by harmony. The lesson remained the same: entry required proof. Cerberus represented a universal idea within mythic storytelling. Important transitions are protected. The deeper the realm, the stronger the guardian. Whether through combat, wisdom, music, or divine favor, the hero must demonstrate readiness before crossing the boundary. In Greek imagination, the underworld was not merely punishment, but a domain of truth. Once a soul entered, illusions of earthly life faded. The gate ensured that the boundary between worlds remained intact. Standing before Cerberus meant facing the final test of passage. The threshold could not be ignored. It had to be earned. Story 2, The Sphinx of Giza. On the western bank of the Nile River, Iteru, in the language of ancient Egypt, where the sun sets and the land of the dead begins, a colossal guardian has watched the horizon for thousands of years. The Great Sphinx of Giza stands near the pyramid of the Giza Plateau, close to the ancient city of Memphis. Carved directly from limestone bedrock during the Old Kingdom, the statue is believed by most scholars to date to the reign of Pharaoh Khafre, around 2500 BCE. Its form is unmistakable. The body of a lion stretches across the desert floor, powerful and unmoving. Rising from that body is the head of a human ruler, crowned with the royal Nemi's headdress. Together, the forms represent a fusion of strength and authority. The lion's power joined with the intelligence of the king. In Egyptian belief, such figures were not merely statues. They were guardians. The Sphinx faced east, looking directly toward the rising sun, Ra, the great solar deity whose daily journey across the sky symbolized rebirth and renewal. This orientation placed the Sphinx between worlds, the land of the living to the east, and the necropolis, the sacred burial grounds of the pharaohs, to the west. The desert plateau behind it held the pyramids, monumental tombs built to house the bodies of kings who would pass into the afterlife. The Sphinx stood at the threshold. Egyptian religion viewed death not as an ending, but as a transition into another realm of existence. The soul of the deceased, known as the Ba and the Ka, would travel through the Duat, the mysterious realm of the afterlife. Only those properly prepared through ritual and moral conduct could pass safely through its dangers. Gateways mattered. Many Egyptian temples and tombs included protective figures, lions, sphinxes, or divine guardians, whose presence symbolized the testing of worth. The journey to the afterlife was not open to anyone unprepared. The Great Sphinx reflected this idea on a monumental scale. Its silent presence marked the boundary of sacred ground. Travelers approaching the necropolis encountered its massive form long before reaching the pyramids themselves. In this way, the Sphinx served both symbolic and ceremonial functions, a reminder that the land beyond belonged to kings and gods. Over centuries, wind and sand buried the statue repeatedly. By the time of the New Kingdom, much of the Sphinx's body had disappeared beneath desert drift, yet its head remained visible, rising above the sands like a watchful sentinel. One of the most famous stories connected to the Sphinx comes from the reign of Thutmose IV, a prince of Egypt in the 14th century BCE. According to the dream stele, a carved stone monument placed between the statue's paws, Thutmose fell asleep in the shadow of the partially buried Sphinx while hunting in the desert. In his dream, the Sphinx spoke to him as the god Harmachis, a form of the sun god associated with the rising horizon. The guardian promised the young prince kingship if he would clear away the sand that buried its body. When Thutmose later became pharaoh, he fulfilled the command and restored the monument. In this story, the Sphinx is not merely stone, it is gatekeeper. It tests worth not through combat or riddles, but through recognition. The prince who listens, who acts, and who honors the guardian proves himself worthy of the throne. The Sphinx, therefore, embodies a different kind of threshold from the monsters of other myths. It does not attack, it watches. Its test is patience, awareness, and reverence for sacred space. To stand before the Sphinx is to confront the weight of time, the permanence of kingship, and the long passage between life and eternity. Even today, the statue remains one of the most recognizable symbols of ancient Egypt. Weathered by millennia, it continues to gaze across the desert as the sun rises over the Nile Valley. A guardian carved from stone, a reminder that the path toward the sacred is never entered casually. The threshold must be approached with understanding. Story 3, Yama judges the souls. In Japanese Buddhist tradition, death is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a passage through judgment. After a person dies, the spirit does not immediately move into its final resting place. Instead, the soul must travel through a series of spiritual courts where its life is examined. At the center of this process stands Enma, the Japanese form of Yama, the great judge of the dead. Enma's role is not arbitrary punishment. He is guardian of the threshold. In Buddhist cosmology that reached Japan through China and Korea, the dead arrived before Enma after crossing into the realm of the afterlife. Here, their actions in the world of the living are examined. Records of the deeds are presented by attendants and spiritual scribes who have observed human lives. Nothing is forgotten. The soul must stand before the judge and face the truth of its existence. Japanese temples and artwork often depict Enma as a powerful and intimidating figure seated behind a court-like bench. His expression is fierce, his gaze unyielding. Assistants stand nearby holding scrolls and mirrors that reveal the hidden actions of the deceased. The symbolism is deliberate. The mirror represents truth. The scroll represents memory. Together, they ensure that no deception survives the crossing. According to later Buddhist tradition in Japan, the judgment does not occur instantly after death. Instead, the spirit undergoes a series of evaluations over 49 days. During this period, the soul passes through multiple stages of review, with Enma serving as the most formidable of the judges. The gate into the afterlife cannot be entered without this examination. In some stories, the soul encounters terrifying landscapes before reaching Enma's court. Rivers must be crossed. Demons may appear. The spirit may face illusion drawn from its own fears. Each obstacle reminds the traveler that the path forward depends on the life already lived. When the soul finally stands before Enma, the judge determines where it will go next. Those who lived virtuous lives may move toward peaceful realms or favorable rebirth. Those who caused harm may be sent to difficult realms where suffering reflects their actions. The gate does not open freely. It opens through truth. Japanese folklore preserved many tales in which living people briefly encountered Enma's judgment. In these stories, someone might appear to die suddenly, only to return to life after witnessing the court of the dead. When revived, they described Enma reviewing records and questioning their deeds before realizing a mistake has been made. The message was clear: no life passes untouched. The idea of Enma's judgment served both spiritual and social purposes. It reinforced ethical behavior by reminding people that actions carried consequences beyond the visible world. Compassion, honesty, and restraint mattered not only in society, but in eternity. Yet Enma was not only a figure of fear. In Buddhist understanding, judgment also offered opportunity. Recognition of wrongdoing could lead to repentance. The good actions could balance past harm. The gatekeeper did not merely condemn, he ensured that justice shaped the path beyond death. Standing before Enma, therefore, represented the final threshold. The traveler could not carry wealth, reputation, or status into the court. Only actions remained. The gate of the next world opened according to the life that had been lived. For those who passed the test, the journey continued. For those who failed, the gate remained closed until lessons were learned. The threshold was not measured by strength or cleverness. It was measured by truth. Story 4, The Spirit Gates of the Coast. Along the shores and river valleys of the Pacific Northwest, the lands surrounding present-day Seattle were home for centuries to the Duwamish people, part of the larger Coast Salish cultural world. Forest, river, mountain, and sea were not separate from the spiritual life of the people who lived there. Every landscape held presence. Among the teachings passed down through oral tradition was the understanding that the visible world and the spirit world existed side by side. Between them were thresholds. These thresholds were not always marked by walls or gates made by human hands. Instead, they appeared in sacred places, deep forests, quiet inlets, waterfalls, or mountain passes, where the boundaries between worlds was believed to thin. Crossing such a place required readiness. Within Coast Salish tradition, spiritual power often came through vision experiences sought by young people preparing to enter adulthood. These experiences were not casual wanderings into the wilderness. They were guided journeys known in many communities as spirit quests. The individual seeking a vision would travel away from the village and spend time alone in a quiet place, often fasting and remaining in prayer or meditation. The purpose was not to force a vision, but to prepare the spirit to receive one. During this time, the seeker waited. Some describe the experience as standing before a doorway that might or might not open. The guardian of that doorway was not always visible. It might appear as an animal spirit, a dream figure, a voice carried in wind or water, or simply a deep sense of presence that filled the forest around the seeker. Only those who showed patience and humility were believed to pass through the gate. If a seeker approached the spirit world carelessly, without respect for the traditions of the people or the guidance of elders, the experience might bring confusion instead of wisdom. But if the seeker listened carefully and remained open to the moment, a spirit helper could appear. Such encounters were transformative. The spirit helper might take the form of an animal, an eagle, salmon, wolf, or raven, or another figure connected to the natural world. The encounter granted a kind of spiritual partnership that would guide the individual throughout life, but the meeting did not occur automatically. The seeker had to remain long enough at the threshold. Many stories within Coast Salish tradition described individuals who waited through hunger, cold nights, and uncertainty before receiving a vision. These trials were not punishment, they were preparation. The spirit world did not open to those who rushed past its doorway. The forest itself became the gatekeeper. The silence tested the seeker's resolve. The darkness of night challenged fear. The long hours of waiting revealed whether the individual truly desired the path ahead. When the moment of encounter finally arrived, the seeker crossed a threshold that could not be seen by others. Returning to the village, they carried a new understanding of themselves and their place within the community. The spirit gate had opened. Within Coast Salish teachings, such experiences were not merely personal revelations. They strengthened the entire community. A person who received guidance from the spirit world brought the wisdom back to the people, helping maintain balance between human life and the natural environment. The guardian of the gate ensured that this power was not taken lightly. One could not force the door open. One could only approach with humility and wait until the moment of entry was granted. In this way, the forests and rivers of the Pacific Northwest became more than landscape. They were living thresholds where individuals proved their readiness for deeper knowledge. The gate was always there, but it opened only for those prepared to listen. Hey everybody, welcome back in. Hope you enjoyed those 4 stories. We are at the gate today, so it is March 8th. I'm not sure if we mentioned that before, but it is March 8th. Today is the gate. Let's go ahead and start with our gate right here. So as you can see, we started to give some little sneak peeks of our book, our novel. Our hardcover is the only one that has the images. It's called The Pilgrimage, Snow White's Duat. So right away, you can tell we focused on Egyptian folklore. Snow White is our key fairy tale figure, and there are lots of older literature pieces in there, from the Pilgrim's Progress to Dante to Poe.
Yeah.
It is definitely one of the best ways to start a Gothic Chronicles. And so today we are showing you our final picture of the prologue, Snow White standing at the gate. Okay, so it's not a fairy tale like you've seen it before. She's dead. This is strictly her passage through the underworld. And she's German. So what is she doing in Egypt? And that's addressed in there. So that's exciting. But a quick little thing that we saw, because we have a lot of Christian ideology in there.
Yeah,
it's not
for sure.
preachy or anything. It's heavily spirituality. I wouldn't even
Yes.
say it's necessarily just Christian.
Right.
But for this story in particular, we pulled, as inspired by the Pilgrim's Progress, quotes from the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, we did take it from King James version of the Bible is where we pulled these from. But ours today, it's verse 8, March 8th, it's verse 8 of the 1 Peter chapter 5. So we figured we'd read it today. But as she's reaching the gate, it is this: be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. So we saw some lions today.
Yeah.
Steadfast. But now we have to realize that when we are at the gate, there are others that may be watching us because we are the worthy.
For sure.
But with that in mind, sorry, we got excited about our book. Our daily thread is that some doors do not open simply because we arrive.
Right.
Cerberus stands watch at the gates of the underworld, allowing passage only to those who belong. The Sphinx guarded the roads of Giza, asking travelers with questions of wisdom. In Japan, the judge Yama examines every soul before the next world can be entered. Along the Pacific coast, spirit gates open only to those who approach with humanity. What lessons might a closed door be trying to teach you today? Worth is proven at the threshold, not beyond it. So this was an interesting take on gates, right?
Yeah.
Just because we are there and we say, okay, I'm ready, it doesn't mean that we're allowed access. Maybe the very fact that we think we're ready is why.
I feel like I'm ready. And like, I feel like 1,000,000% that I'm standing at that threshold of the amazing new life that I know is right around the corner, like everything I'm doing. But I heard something really important, I think, the other day, and I'm really stepping into that. Be happy where you are. Because if you're not happy where you are, how are you going to be happy where you're going?
Did you hear that song that I was listening to the other day?
No,
It
this
said
was on
that.
something else.
Oh, that's crazy, because I asked Alexa to
wasn't a
play
song.
that song,
Yeah.
and you were in the house, but it talked about that very thing. Maybe when I start to appreciate where I'm growing, I'll find out that my life is already good, because it talks about, well, maybe when I have a car that starts, when I have money, when someone loves me. But it's like, when I acknowledge where I'm at,
Yeah. What
I
do you
will
have
finally
now?
start realizing that I am happy.
Yeah, and there's so much to be thankful for. Even in the bad times, when I think back when I didn't have much, man, I've had stuff to be thankful for my whole life. I truly have. And if I would have just lived in that happiness, I truly believe better things would have happened sooner. And I think that's one thing I needed to learn this first part of my life, this very short first part, because I think the second part's going to be a much longer journey, truly, because of what I'm meant to do. So to be able to learn that at such a young age that I'm at, and be able to move forward and to bring that to so many people, because I mean, shit, Abraham started when he was 75.
Right.
Yeah, cool. I'm ready.
Yeah, heroes aren't always
You know?
the good die young. Sometimes heroes don't even reach their opportunity
Yeah, I'm starting 30
till
years
later
before
on.
him. So
Yeah.
like and what's funny to say that out loud is I've always felt, man, I wish I would have did that. I wish I would have done that sooner. Like when we were talking about um doing things. It was an episode maybe a day or so ago. And it was one of those things where when I was younger, it was like I always wished I would have done the reality TV thing, but I didn't do it because I felt self-conscious about the way I look. And I still have some of those feelings, but I'm working towards it, you know. But if I truly wanted that or was supposed to have that in my life, that wouldn't have been a block for me.
Right.
I would have made it. But then I know that was not that was not where I was supposed to go this lifetime. So
Mhm.
that's obviously why it didn't happen, because I think probably just, I don't want to give it anything. It wasn't meant to be this time.
Right.
So it probably already did happen. I probably already have done that in another reality.
Right.
So this time it was for something else.
So this one today with the gate, it is about acknowledging why are we being denied access
Mhm.
sometimes? Why is it that I've gone through everything and I've grown so much and the door will not open? I mean, that is a frustrating thing that I truly believe everyone faces. Why is this opportunity not presenting itself? Like you said, I'm ready to step into the next thing. I'm ready. And how I've told you before, well, is it me? Is it me? No, just like these stories said, how ready? Are you willing to sit there hungry for it? Are you willing to sit there so frustrated because you're like, I'm trying to go into this new reality. I'm trying to step into myself. And that I really just think the door is saying, just prove it. Wait for me to open my doors. And I think that's where you and I are at right now.
Right.
And the
We're
door
just
is
waiting for that
slowly
door to.
peaking, I feel like, but we get too excited. I think it's testing us. I
Mm.
think there may be opportunities to go, like with the
Yeah, we're
book,
just not
when
thanking
we were
ourselves
about to
enough.
publish and people were coming in with like false, stuff and like fraud things to help publish our book and everything. And because we took a step back before we moved forward, we were able to realize that. And I think that that was part of the test. How bad do you want it? But do you want it enough to take a breath and make sure it's done right? I think that's where we're at.
Mhm.
And so with story one, we see Cerberus. We know most popular story is the dog walk that Heracles takes him on,
Mhm.
you know. But I love, love, love because we see it in the cartoon where he has the dog and the dog's scared of him, right?
Right.
Because he ends up beating him up. But then we see Orpheus do it through the way that it's shown through, shout out to J.K. Rowling, she does it in Harry Potter, where the dog is put to sleep with music. Being worthy doesn't always mean brute force. Just like this story is telling us, harmony sometimes opens the door.
That's that frequency of love.
And that I think is a huge lesson in life of sometimes there are occasions where raising our voice and fighting is what needs to be done. Sometimes we need strength and valor and courage. And this isn't one of those times.
Yeah.
And I love that it's not one of those times when you're approaching death.
Mm.
I love that. I love that death in all these cultures, folklore, mythology, death is asking you to take a breath and acknowledge who you are,
Mhm.
where you've come from, where you're at. And it forces us to meet peace. Because if we don't, we're suffering because of us. And I like to believe that that's truly how it is. I don't, we'll get into the Egyptian one, but I believe everyone has the opportunity in the afterlife to be saved, whatever saving is felt like, and as much as I'm a human and I used to hope that there were certain people that didn't get that because I thought, there are certain things that you just don't do, but that's not my call. And my dad told me once because he talked to the rabbi who was going to the prison. I don't know how long ago, but one of the religious people that go to the prison to help people. My dad was the same way, and he told me this a long time ago. And he was like, "Why? Half of them are faking it, Or they, how do you know that they're being real? Why go out there? Like some of these people are the worst of the worst. I mean, our prison at one point had the worst of the worst.
Mm.
You got there by earned stuff on yard, right? Wreck, like how you treat people in prison. So those are the people out there. My dad, why? Why would you? Why? And the guy said, because what greater victory is it for the Lord, God, to save one of these people? The devil had his grips in you so tight, but at the end, it was not enough. And he said the same thing to my dad that I felt a long time is, who are we to judge? It's not my job. He says, I'm someone who preaches or whatever he was doing. Like I said, I don't remember if it was a rabbi or what, but I'm someone who shares the word of the Lord. It is not for me to interpret. It is for me to give it to them and help them in
I
any
say
way.
that.
My dad said that that was one of the conversations that really humbled him as a person. And he uses that a lot when he talks to me when I'm feeling frustrated. And
That's
aren't you
funny. I
thankful
use
that
it
it's not your job?
so much. Yeah.
Because who's out there thinking that about me? And aren't we thankful that it's out of our hands? It's in the hands of the person that loves all of us. And so Cerberus reminds me of that because, yeah, he's this big bad dog, But he's not only making sure that the dead don't leave, he's making sure people that don't belong there aren't there. If you are living, this is not your place. All right. These people are on their path and it is not your place to disrupt them. And I honestly love that. And I admire that because whatever's out there is protecting us in the afterlife.
Right.
Regardless of what we had done,
Mm-hmm.
before we get judgment, there's something out there that's saying, no, they've had enough. Earthly matters are not theirs anymore. Their soul is on its own journey. Bruce is, he's a beautiful character.
Yeah.
And I love it even more that it's a dog because imagine 3 little dog scratches, that's how I picture it. Like, good little boy.
Okay.
We know why Persephone really stayed in the underworld and it was for the pets.
Yeah. Just getting the pets. Pets are the guys.
Mm-hmm. But I like too that there's so many, we saw Hades for a second in this story, and Cerberus is hugely important to Hades. I mean, imagine the consequence, but he gave an opportunity. But that was a huge responsibility too, because that being better return unharmed. And I think of that when we are so scared to ask people to watch our animals or to be around our animals because we have that feeling of
Right.
if you harm them, though, that is a hugely important thing because our pets, dogs in particular, are our guards, especially when I told you when I was living alone, a single female. I bought 2 dogs that were breeds to guard me. I told people that they're not here to be outside for you to be introduced to them.
Yeah.
Several people asked to be introduced to them that I did not like.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. When they tried to introduce themselves, I purposely called my dogs in. I, kind of push off that energy of no.
Yeah. That's not what these are for.
Because when dogs know that too, there's that sense of love, you're protecting them as protectors.
Right. That's the thing. So a dog chooses the person in the family. If you look at a dog will choose one person in the family. It doesn't matter. Like they might love everybody.
Yeah,
but
they're
they're going to
family
choose
dogs,
one.
but they have their person.
Their person is the person that they feel that protects them as a pet. So whoever makes them feel the most safe. And then in any way, without putting judgment on it, however they feel the most safe. I mean, it could be your youngest kid, if you have one, if it's a family dog or the dad or the mom or whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever that animal feels, just like whatever we feel, doesn't mean it's wrong. It just, that's what it is. So,
Right.
yeah. I love that about animals. And then your dogs, especially since I took one of them from you.
Which one?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes me more now.
You know what?
You know what? Look at who
That's
he
and
took.
you might think that, but that dog's soul and mine are tied together.
You can be tied as much as you want, but it tied you to bring to me.
Bodhi just
He
likes fetches.
he roped in. He lays next to me.
No, he does. He's a big person, and what's funny is that Bodhi has always been like that. Whenever, like, when my friend Taylor, the one that you've met, when she lived with me, it was the same. Bodhi likes to sit by the other person. Now, there have been people that have come over that he didn't like, 100%.
He's like, no.
But it makes me feel really good because
Right.
Bodhi, as you've known, he struggles with being touched. He
Yeah,
doesn't.
and like today when he just come over and just put his head on my shoulder or my lap and just let me pet him, and he's like, "No, yeah, you're petting Bella. Cool. My turn. What? All right.
It's awesome seeing how pets grow too. And he wouldn't have been able to grow as much if I hadn't met you either.
Right.
Because I didn't introduce him to the last person I talked to before I met you. And the couple like boyfriends that I had that had met him, he didn't like one. I mean, one of them literally hit him the first time he met him because he was all excited and playing fetch and he didn't like the excitement, was trying to get him to calm down. And it's like, okay, but you need to understand that that's not how you interact with a dog the first time.
Right.
Especially, he being deaf and
He only has so many senses that he gets to use.
but it's also like animals remember that and they do read your energy and your
I've seen
aura and
things where your animals come back. Sometimes you have the same pets. Like if you ever notice, and it could be a dog, a cat, or it could be just one that's in passing, but they truly do come back. I believe it, but I've seen quite a few things where people talk about the pets where they'll reincarnate as well into your life again, where they're just like, nah, I just like being their pet just because I help them out. That's my job.
or like you see those movies where it's like the pet is fighting for it because no, they need me.
Mm.
You don't understand. Like, no other pet will understand that this is what that human needs when
Yep.
they're feeling this way. And that right there, I still will never believe the idea that animals don't have souls and they don't go to heaven. I'm sorry. That is a belief that I think is downright wrong because I've viewed a lot of animals in my life, and you can't look into those eyes and
We
see the
can
way that
even
they
go
react.
into, like, I believe we can even spend time as an animal. An hour, like, yeah, we're supposed to be these higher beings, yeah, but I believe at one point in our vibrational whatever, like, we were meant to be an animal. We
Mhm.
were. Because why wouldn't we want to? If Earth is a school, why wouldn't we wanna feel what it feels like to be a cat,
So that's exciting because
you
we
know?
will have stories that are like that. We have themes and days that are the transformations,
Yeah.
our animal sides. And why do we say, let your animal side out? Why do we have like spirit animals or animals that we just, their personalities are our personalities, whether we know it or not? We have, I mean, the alphas. You can immediately think of animals that fit that description. Now think of strong leaders, men or women, and you could probably identify what animal you would think would resemble them
Right.
based on their demeanor. And that's beautiful too.
I'm
But
interested to find out what people think my animal is. I don't even know what
I
my
almost
animal
just
is.
said what
Fucking
I thought.
koala bear? Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. I laugh because, like, if you've ever seen a wet koala bear, they're terrifying. I feel like that's me on my down days. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then that baby that was crawling up the branch, and he's like, no, mom, the Ozzy
Yeah.
Nancy. Me
Like,
with
"Get down
you.
there."
That's me with you.
"Nah, mom, I'm good."
And then I fall down and then I climb back up. Okay, story two, the Sphinx. So this is a different aspect. We're not so much concerned about the riddles that we see with Sphinx. This is actually talking about the physical one guarding the plateau. I had no idea about this story of, as much as I've looked into Egyptian stuff, I've told you before the Sphinx isn't one of them. I don't know why, but it was always something that I was going to go to Egypt and that's when it would be a thing.
Right.
I wasn't even
Okay.
gonna consider it until I saw it because you hear so much, you see pictures. No, I need to see it.
I do
I wanna
need to
feel it.
go there
So
in
I
person,
haven't
touch
looked.
it, feel it.
Yeah.
I wanna go soon. So, the Egyptian government, I just saw on something very recently, like,
Mhm.
within this week, there's supposed to be this big thing that they're releasing some information. I don't know if I've told
Do you
you
think
this
it's
yet.
about the pillars under the plateau?
They say it's going to change history as we know it.
It's the pillars.
But then the guy that's going, that was asked to go, that I watched this documentary on, because they're like, "What is it?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, I truly don't know. They didn't
Mhm.
tell me, but I get to go." And then so they're trying to figure out when it is, and that's why I was talking to you about the thing that made you uncomfortable. I don't want to bring it up right now, but it made you uncomfortable. The stuff that's going on in the world made you
Oh,
uncomfortable. You didn't
yeah.
like it. He's talking about this. The same man is talking about the
Well,
pyramid
that's
thing, the
all over
release.
the same area.
So
It's
what he's
right
saying
there.
is, like, he's going over there at some point. He said he didn't even know when he's going. He was thinking he might be going in a month or so. And he's like, but now, because they're trying to figure out dates and stuff, and they're talking about it, and it was AJ. AJ is the interviewing this guy, and it was on a basement episode. And so he is like, he was thinking it was going to be in September that he was going to go, but he's thinking it might be October. So I think there might be this big shift in this big, like, ta-da, and then it really helps us raise
So
our
my mind,
consciousness.
I hope it's the pillars under the plateau. I said it must be, in my mind, I
The
hope it is.
chamber under
And I
the
hope
Sphinx.
it's the electricity and the water stuff and the power
Mm.
source. I hope that they have found out the power source that has been used to connect all these pyramids, to connect all this
Mm.
stuff.
I think we need the records in order to do that, to show us in what it is. And I truly believe that what it is what is in the records underneath the Sphinx, because she is holding the thing. And I just think, just because I thought about it, and this is the story of the Sphinx. Now, both of us, we don't agree with the timelines, but that's what's great about these stories is you don't have to agree what it's saying or the time of it. It's just you got to look at what the story's telling us. From things that I've done within the research that I've seen people do with the Sphinx, the weathering on her, or whatever you want to call it, is inducive, whatever the word is, but it aligns with weather pattern erosion of water and lots of water, which the only time there was water there, allegedly, that we know of, which,
They've
grain
been
of salt,
really
13,000 years ago.
right.
This story is 2,500 years ago, which 2,500
Well, so it's
BCE. So
about
we're looking about
5,000 years
5,000. So we got a big blank.
No, it used to be a huge oasis, and we're starting to uncover more artifacts. And the fact that the plateau could have pillars going down at the mass that they're thinking based on the vibrations. I mean, we thought that the pyramids were impossible to build, and people were like, "Oh, we know how to build them." Okay, but the things that are
the closer the
underground,
video,
I believe the pyramids are literally the tip of the iceberg, which means, okay, if we could barely describe that, good luck
so
trying to
giants
get
really were the
yeah,
ones that, if they're
good luck trying to get the world's citizens to believe, because people are already calling everyone out on their BS. There are things that no longer make sense because you told us to trust you, we did, and now how many years later that we have this technology, we know less than we did because now more of us are capable of finding this stuff out on our own. So places are locked down for us to go. Like there should be absolutely no reason that national parks are closed off to public.
right.
The Grand Canyon, safety. Yes, put safety people there. But there should be no reason that people are going missing or that there are these there are certain things. There should be no reason. And the controlling worldwide panic, you got to give people a chance. So we panic. You have people that are about to go to war over stuff that's not even true because AI is taking over everything.
Right, but that's a big part in what we do as citizens. We are making this happen by our collective consciousness.
Mhm.
So if we decide enough is enough and we decide not to give that disgustingness our energy and we put our energy towards the collective good and we're like, you know what? We're going to resolve this without any more bombs. That's what I'm pushing out. That's
Right.
the energy I personally am pushing out.
Well, and then think about
And the bombs went off. Okay. So they went off for good, for a reason. Something went off for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And I truly believe it's going to push us towards the common good for everybody to wake up. And I truly believe what I'm doing today, what I did this morning, what I've been doing all week, what we've been doing since the first of the year, we are making a difference. And I believe if you're watching this, it's making a difference for you and you're going to make a difference in somebody else's life by just saying one phrase to somebody. You have no clue the impact that you can make. And I love that for that. That's what we're doing on the daily.
And this one, the Sphinx, it reminds us to think about the people who were there on the way.
Yeah.
So because he became Pharaoh and he remembered, we need to uncover that.
I love that he did that.
We need to do that. And it wasn't, in this story, it wasn't a big, I became Pharaoh because of this. That needs to be uncovered. Dig it up, let it breathe. Imagine being at that and being the Pharaoh, and there's only a head sticking out and telling your people, I want you to let that lion breathe. And people are just like,
what lion?
That you mean the Pharaoh head over there? I want you to uncover the Sphinx. And then they dig it up, and that's what it is. I mean, that's something that we don't see very much anymore. And I think that's a huge downside, is that everything is always being filmed. Everything is always being shown, that we're not allowed discovery. We're not allowed the opportunity for beings to say, trust me and dig. And this is what's here.
Yeah, everybody's like, no, you can't dig. You can't dig.
But imagine
Which
your leader saying that's what this is. And you're like, okay, I don't know. And then you dig it up and that's what it is. All right. Clearly something's talking to you. Like clearly you're being honest enough,
Right.
That's something that people want to follow. Transparency is what people want to follow. And I just like how the Sphinx, it's guarding something. And it's been an anomaly for so long.
I remember hearing about the chamber in the 90s, I think.
Okay, yeah. And then we look at it and it's guarding, and people are like, well, it's guarding mummies. People, not a single mummy has been found in any 3 of those pyramids. Artifacts have been found, as artifacts have. Not a single mummy has been found in any of those 3.
And inside those, there's residents of like high voltage, salt water. There's
engravings,
all kinds of things where it's just like, there's no way.
There's water running underneath all of them, you said.
There's a huge amount of water. And the what's sad though, and there's some parts, like I was watching, there's a thing out there in Egypt, there was a bigger pyramid that was like blasted out of nowhere and it overlooked Giza. And they're like, why would the son of later person. But what's really cool about the pyramids, the newer the pyramids
The
in
worse
art,
they are.
the more, what would be the word that I see
The
them
less
use?
press that they have
Right.
become.
It's the more like generic, whatever type of version. It's like, wait, wouldn't it get
We
better with time?
devolved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We went
technology
backwards in
devolved.
time. We
And
went
you can
backwards.
see that in a number of cultures around the world.
Yeah.
And it comes from all these catastrophes and stuff. But I just think it's cool because, yes, with all the stuff I've looked into, it's crazy in my mind that I'm not obsessed with the Sphinx. It's because it's a huge anomaly, but it's because I have no idea what it's guarding, and I don't want any sort of ideas before I go there.
It'd be amazing. I saw that guy talking about this thing because, like, a lot of these shows I watch like some older stuff because I like to kind of just hear that. I like to watch the stuff what people used to think and just kind of see where we're at now. And it just happened to be something new that I watched. And it made me think of what if we're meant to make these journeys with these people, like, no, now, like, especially being at this veil, right? I'm no longer meant to just watch this. I'm meant to be there as part of the discoveries and this stuff that's going on because that's what I want. I'm sick of living the lives that everybody says that we're supposed to do in these boring meat and potato life. I don't want that.
No one does.
And then,
And
so
as a
why?
collective, if everyone's starting to go to, you know what? No,
We don't have
that's
to,
when we're
too.
all going to be able to go freely and to get back to this kind of stuff of, you know what we really need is just collaboration in our community and love for people around the world. And oh my gosh, a little bit of minding our own business.
Yeah, for sure. Because what you're doing, like if you're over there in that house down the street, truly what you're doing, I have no clue what you're doing right now. So long as it doesn't hurt me and my family and my friends, why should I care?
And if you're not hurting things,
Yeah.
like, yes, I've seen people and I don't agree with the way that they're treating another person, a kid, or an animal.
But that's the thing.
But it's not my job to tell everyone else to act and behave like I want them to,
Right.
to speak how I want them to, because I know there have been times where I've been told to know my place.
Yeah.
How dare you? Like, and I did that to even my parents, which if anyone has any right to have done that to me in the past, it was them. And so whenever someone did it that wasn't them, it was like that, go on. And then I think, wow, that was a lesson for me though, because there have been times where I go to say something and now I bite my tongue because I'm like, not my hill that I'm willing to die on and not my place. But I love the Sphinx, the final thing with the Sphinx. And this is the important note. Some guardians do not challenge with violence, like Cerberus did. Some challenge with presence. Could you imagine coming over the hill, whatever it is out there, and in the distance, you see a massive feline body? And then you get up to it and you're walking up and you get to it and just the presence of it. That's why I want to see it. That's why, yes, I've heard that it's a guardian. And then I was told my entire education that it was guarding the mummies that were buried there. I thought that there were so many mummies there that when
Just
you
mummies all
told me
over.
that, I was like, what? And then we're seeing it on TV and I'm like, what? I just learned that within our relationship that the pyramid did not have mummies.
Wow.
Why is that? Like, I felt like that was
Not common
common.
knowledge.
No, I felt it was common knowledge to tell people that there was, but the
That they were
pyramids
death
were
chambers
for.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I learned when I was a kid, is that's what it was. That's what it
That
was.
was, I literally
Not one mummy
remember.
ever was ever found in any pyramid ever across any part of the world.
I literally remember taking tests where the answer was the mummies are in the pyramid.
I'm sure
Mummies
it
found
still
in
says that.
pyramids. And now I'm just like,
They can't hide it
well,
anymore.
we're in different realities. And now we all did push ourselves into the fact that, you know what, we don't accept that. This is energy. There is something beyond.
Yeah, that
Maybe
was the
that's what
old
happened.
story. That was the
And
old
so,
story. Now we're in the new story. I love that. Thank you.
it may not be the visual or the verbal riddles. It may just be the riddle of, can you stand in the presence of unknown greatness?
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying we're idolizing the Sphinx. I'm saying who, how, who, what, when, because then you start doing scientific experiments and it's like, oh, this isn't 5,000 years old. It's over 13,000 years old. We couldn't even
And the head
describe
is
the
different.
technology used in 2000 BCE. How are we going to get people to believe, I know how the Sphinx was built 13,000 years ago? No. Because the erosion started 13,000 years ago.
That's where
Which
it was.
wait.
It's 20,000. How old is it?
And we're sitting here going, the Sphinx is an anomaly and I want to know what it is. And it could just be a giant's chess piece that has lasted this time. It could be a chess piece that has
It
just
was a
been
toy
sitting there. The
that just got
why is the plateau flat? It's a game board. You know?
for
No, I'm just saying,
giants.
like, that's
Yeah.
an idea.
Right.
I
Because I
love
mean,
it.
there was giants the size of, like, if you we're talking folklore and mythology, so we can bring this up. There was giants, right? The size of mountains in some. If you watch some of these stories, they were the size of mountain.
Well,
Like,
where is it in
I've seen
Alaska Sleeping Lady? Isn't that
the mountain range where it's yeah,
it looks
she's a
like
whole
woman?
mountain. If you look around where we live, there is more than one mountain range where I can point it out to you, and I'll be like, "There's a face."
Mhm.
There's one just right out here, and there's one
On the
just
drive to
over
Vegas,
there.
there's probably about like 30 of them.
There's the big D rock that I point out right where you go through the S turns, because someone pointed it out to me when I was in junior high. Ever since then, that's what that is.
Well, there
But it
is,
looks just
and
like it.
then, I mean, the movie Moana.
Yeah.
It's an actual island.
Well,
Why are there so many cultures again that their islands, the earth, we're living on bodies?
yeah.
And we can go, okay, yeah, no, it's really just dirt and it's all of this. So many people have died that inevitably we're living on bodies.
Right. The Grand Canyon, some guy, I just watched a video. He's like, he pulled out and he traced it, right? And you could probably do this and you could probably find his video. But the Grand Canyon and how it splinters, he's like, look at this wing on this pterodactyl or this big thing. He's like, it's a dragon. And then, like, where the dragon's head is in his thing, it's like called the dragon something. It's like the dragon's mouth or something like that. And it's like, wait, what? So we even called it that because we got to put the truth out there, right? Or they have to, I guess, the part of the game that we're playing as
Right.
humans. So yeah, the Grand Canyon it was a giant dead dragon.
We're finding out how much we don't know, that cultures didn't have borders, believe it or not.
Yeah.
People may
Just
have
floated,
stayed
mixed
in a
and
lot of
mingled.
places, and that may be where their culture's from. But from what I found through all these stories and through everything is every culture had their nomadic groups, everyone, to spread it around the world, not to preach it. I'm not talking about we're going and this is what you need to believe in, or you are a terrible person. I'm saying we're spreading healing, we're spreading love.
Yeah.
I mean, people would go around and learn different healing techniques from cultures and then come back. And it's like, what happened?
Well, I
to
mean,
that?
that's what Jesus did, right? For all the people that like watch that's a big thing. He went to Egypt to learn stuff and then came back and he was like doing all this stuff. And that's where Christ consciousness comes from, because he went out and he learned. That's why and all this stuff isn't the stories aren't he was born and then he was 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. No, there's nothing about him. Why? Because that's when he was off learning things. And then what was important is when he came back to teach you all this stuff. It's not the whole journey. Your whole journey isn't important. The first part of my story isn't super important to the end part of my journey. I can have 2 different lives. I had my first part, now I'm going to have my most amazing part because I'm ready for it.
Right.
And it's the same thing in all these stories. It's like just because it was this way at one point in time doesn't mean it has to continue to be that way.
So I 100% agree with you. Going into the third one, Yama judges the souls. I don't know why I titled it Yama judges the souls when it's about Enma, but that's what it is. But Enma, because that's the Japanese Buddhist version of Yama, so was the harshest, and I like to think of that as, harsh because it's brutally honest. And I don't mean brutally honest as in I'm saying mean things. I'm saying I'm ripping the mask off of your life, whatever you may have said it is in your world. I'm ripping that Band-Aid off and I'm making you look at the ugliness that you showed the world. And was the good you did enough? What I thought when I saw this was the movie The Shack. And in the judge's caverns, I pictured her when I was reading this. That harsh reality of, okay, then do the job. And imagine if he didn't get the chance to back away. Enma has to be harsh because the world needs that balance. Not cruel, not annihilating, not destructive, harsh, honest. And that's the one thing that really shifted me into my spirituality. I mean, when I was younger, taking the Lord's name in vain, I mean, I was always blaming God. Little inconveniences, like why? Okay, like I get it. Cool,
Mhm.
thanks, petty stuff. And even as an adult, that's probably one of my hardest habits I've ever had to break
Yeah.
is blaming God, blaming the higher being. I mean, I've told you, I mean, you've seen my spiritual collection of books, a lot of different faiths of experimenting and trying to look at what do I believe? And that's why I have so many different aspects of so many different ones
Mhm.
that people would go, you can't be both. I'm not either.
Right.
Whatever I want to
You
believe.
might have been. You might have been this one in one
Mhm.
life and this one in another life and this one in another life. You don't
But
know.
the
And that's
reason,
why you connect with
right.
things.
And the reason that pushed me into finding that out for myself was because I just got hit and I don't remember what it was exactly right now. But I remember the feeling of what am I going to do if I'm standing in front of my maker and he's just like, so what did you do with my son? What did you do with the life I gave you? What did you do with the people I put in your place that needed help? How did you treat the animals? How did you treat yourself? That question right there has been the hardest one for me because there have been times where I've really hurt myself. There have been times where I've wanted to die. I've been times where I've gone beyond that. And how dare I? Because something created me, something loved me. And how could I even do that to my parents,
Right.
let alone the thing that created life? And this reminds me, Enma, the higher being, whatever you want it to be in this story, Enma, they're not asking us to be perfect. They aren't even asking us to do only good. What did you learn from the bad? How did you fix it? Because I think if we went to the end and we only did good things, how did you challenge yourself? How did you help people? And maybe some people, that's it. They just saw wrongdoings and chose to always be kind.
Right.
That's still enough.
That was their journey.
But I mean, a lot of my decisions, and that's why I told you when I when I lie, that's another terrible habit to break out of. Something stupid, right? What did I lie about that one time? Oh, because I tipped someone extra money.
Oh,
Remember when I was
yeah.
on the phone and I lied about it because I tipped them a
Yeah.
pretty
I
good tip
forget what it
because they
was.
treated me well.
Yeah, she tipped somebody something, and I'm just like, "Wait,
And
what?"
it
And
was
she's like,
like,
"Hold on, I lied." But we've been doing that a lot to each other now,
yeah,
like, it's the silliest thing, but we'll be like, "No, I lied." But I like taking that accountability for the little lies because then it's gonna make it super hard if you ever try to lie about something, like, serious, you know what I mean?
right. And I mean, I was uncomfortable because it was what you gave me
It
like
just feels good.
$20 and I spent the whole 20 because I just tipped the rest.
Yeah,
And
and I was
so it
like,
was something
"Okay,"
little like that. But in my mind, I was just like, not okay.
because I was like,
I
I
called
was
you,
gonna follow it up with worse than money, and you were like, "Nope, that was a lie," and
I
I
know
think
I
you
called
knew.
you back crying.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I was kind of like choked up and I was like, I don't know why I did that, but I got felt really bad about it. But I wasn't always like that. I
Yeah.
have been in relationships where it's been serious things I've lied about.
Yeah, me too. So,
And I told you I don't ever want to be in that.
nope.
Now, that does not mean that we tell everything to each other.
No.
There have been times where things have been said to me in the past, like in past relationships, let's say, where people have said something negative about my partner. I wouldn't share that about them. Now, though, I'm in a place where no one even says that to me. Well, this or this, right? Because it's just so clear that, this is endgame. That's the difference between being with someone that's right in the moment, that feels right in the moment versus the right person. Is that when you're with the right person, people don't come to your table to talk crap about your partner.
Right.
They may come to the table saying, hey, this bothered me, or hey, this or this, but I feel really good knowing that that's not something I'm going to have to keep, But we have to give ourselves grace because if at the end we have to meet a harsh person, we don't give ourselves grace now and go, okay, I need to learn from this. I need to remember how this terrible feeling feels and not do this act again or not talk to someone like that again. We need to do that. We need to move forward. We need to grow. We need to take a step back and go on an apology tour. Like that's what I called it. When I was in my young 20s, I called it my apology tour.
Mhm.
And I didn't reach, I absolutely didn't reach everyone that I think I should apologize to.
Sometimes I don't think you have to do that.
There are sometimes I don't think apologies are necessary. These
You
were
can say it out energetically, though.
Yeah, but these were people that and I've told you this before.
Yeah.
One of them shared that that's all they needed to hear. These were people that I intentionally embarrassed or hurt. People that I chose to disrespect them because I could. And I just felt like it didn't matter to me if it was a long time ago and they had already forgiven me. And it was a lot about me forgiving myself too. But just saying, you know what? I did you wrong.
Yeah.
And thank you for being such a good person that you didn't do the same to me.
Isn't it beautiful? Like that's what the thing about this life is. We don't need to have this huge, glorious movie type life to learn the lessons that we need to learn. And that's what I
Mm-mm.
like about the meat and potatoes is because this life right now could be just about humility, about standing at the door and it never opening for you. Well, what's that about? Like I seen a thing where it was like a past life where the person that they're dealing with in this life now killed them in a past life, right? And then now in their new one, they're wanting forgiveness and their higher selves are like, yeah, but they don't have to. That person's karma now has to figure out, no, what happens, what you do sticks with you. You reap what you sow. And that's what I like about like, so all the stuff that I'm now learning with the classes that I'm taking are just, it's falling so perfectly in the line with the stories today. I love it.
I've never seen you take so many notes. I mean, like, and I'm saying that as in I've never seen you take any notes. I've only heard horror stories about you being a student. And so to see you flipping through 10, 15 pages of notes, I mean, like, I love seeing you do it because you see me do that all the time.
Yeah,
Because
you're
that's
a
my
note taker.
obsessive I do, because if I write it
It's
down, I
impressive.
can see what it looks like, and then I can recall it. So I
Yeah,
remember what it looked like on the page.
right.
And that's why I'm a doodler. Not just like doodling, but I'll draw things that resemble what the ideas are,
Mm.
because then I make it like a visual poster, and then I'm like, "Okay, I remember everything for today." I can remember where it was, what symbols it was next to, and recall it better that way.
Wow.
So
You
that's
know,
how I
the
like to do it.
symbols and stuff, like, that's exactly what the higher selves, the subconscious, like, the collective, everything that's connected to everything says that's what they use.
Oh, snap. That's how I take notes for things. I
They
make
just
posters
told
and
it, like,
visuals.
in one of the videos I watched today, they said that that's how they talk to people is with
Well, you know that
symbols.
I'm obsessed with symbols. I mean, the pilgrimage book.
That's all they so, like, that's your big connection to them. Also, like, that's one thing you should definitely pay attention to then more now to get more answers. Like,
Well,
if
and
you
we
question something and then you look around and you see something, like, or the first time you consciously notice it, that's probably your answer.
and we've talked about how the other day talking about the dream and seeing the Greek or Roman architecture, seeing the red-tailed hawk. The hawk is hugely symbolic in a lot of folklores, but Egypt,
Yeah.
having these
What
like
bird was
hypnosis
theirs?
things.
Some kind of falcon or
Well,
something
they
like
had
that?
falcons and hawks. No,
Right.
it was a number of them. But and the ibis, But then we're going under this therapy hypnosis journeys and stuff, and I see the pyramids, but I see them standing on these plateaus. I see them standing at this place, and the one I Delphi is the other place I really think we're supposed to go because
Tough.
I keep seeing those pillars.
Mm.
That's where the oracles were, and I keep seeing them.
So where do we go first?
And so I'm like, I think we just hit both of those in the same thing. I mean, yeah, Greece and Egypt are a ways apart, but
No, but you're over
they're right
there.
there. Yeah. Symbols, I mean, they're huge. Yeah, so I'm excited
Yeah.
about that. But how I just see all these things and it's making me, I don't know. I think maybe this is even, I didn't know where to go because you hadn't figured out what you were supposed to do. And maybe it is that we're at the point where we're relying on other people. I'm relying on you because I need a gatekeeper to open the door to understand that. I had no idea that that was a thing. Like the higher self was big on symbols. I thought you've seen me take notes before and come home and there is the doodles and the drawings and things I associate with it,
Mm. I
because I
just never
do.
it didn't resonate as much as it does now. It's the thing. So like you don't so one of the greatest things is like it tells you like questions and stuff. Like how
Mhm.
do I know what I'm supposed to ask? Well, if you don't know, then come back when you know. if I opened your computer right now and I said, "Give me the answers," the computer's gonna not know it. What? I'm the internet. What do you want to know?
The answers to what?
Ask me and I'll tell you what the answers
Right.
are. You know what I mean? So like that's what I love about all of this. Everything, this game that we're playing, the higher self, and all these little videos that I'm watching, and I'm like, holy crap, that is just I just love when everything flows. And I just feel like we are just so in the flow. There's zero reason why these doors aren't gonna open.
Right. And
It's
that's
just like, and I believe it every more and more and more and more. And it's truly gonna happen. And then everything, ugh, I could keep talking about this.
no,
I
it
know
will though. And
this
that's what we started with. And that's the
we're over an
story.
hour already, and we haven't been fucking around really, have we?
No,
No,
we've
we
been
did talk for a while first.
No, because we talked about the 4 story beginning, so we don't really have to talk about it anymore. But that's what I was gonna say is we started with the 4 story and we're gonna end with it just briefly on what you just touched is sometimes we're waiting at the door and we're not the ones that have the power to open it.
Yeah.
And maybe it is that circular motion, for each other of maybe the door won't open until you do the QHHT on me or that therapy on me,
Yeah, as soon as you
Maybe that's
bust
the
into it, it's
thing.
just waiting for to talk to us. Cause like that, it could be just waiting to be like, finally. Like, what's funny is when you were reading the stories, one of them, that word popped in, finally
Mm.
popped into my head. Kind of because like I had heard it in one of my classes. Somebody said finally. I feel like it's gonna say it to us. I feel like that
Well,
is
and
our
how
message.
much
Is
did today's thing
finally
feel like our first book? Why was that our first book?
right.
It wasn't even okay,
You know what's funny?
it
Yeah,
wasn't
because
even the story that we had anything for. We hadn't even started talking about Egypt. We had 3 other books already started.
the ones that we're
The ones
working
that
on
we're
right now.
working on now. And by started, meaning that we chose the things. I had 2 that were partially written, certain scenes were, and I've showed you
Right.
those scenes and yeah, they needed a lot of work. But we had 0 for this book. Got it
Just
done in less than
ran.
10 months. And
I
honestly,
mean, we're kind of awesome.
I was
We are
kind
very
of this one is every chapter packs a punch
yeah.
because it
This one.
doesn't this is if you think this story, if you want to look at harshness, this is the harsh realities of when the gate opens,
What?
you need to be ready.
Yeah.
The door is opening and it's might be harsh,
What's on
but
the other
God, how
side?
liberating is it?
Yeah.
I just think about Conchu and Bassett because as hard as it was in our story, the scene with those 2 made it worth it. That scene and then the flashback with the mom, I think are the 2 that there are 2 like really powerful, feel good, liberating moments in a book full of uck, a book full of gosh, we all feel that. We all think
Mm.
that. And are we gonna make it? Are some of us denied at the gates? At the end, is it just but what happens when the gates open? The first door is about to open for Snow White. I think our doors are about to open and it's gonna be harsh. And I think you and I have kind of faced some of that harshness this
Mm.
past little bit.
Yeah.
But look at all the doors that are so close to opening. I feel like we're in a room
Mm.
where doors keep appearing and some are leaving because we're choosing to go, I see you open and that's not it. And we're waiting. And so they close and they leave. But just like that 4th story, those spirit gates, it's when you're ready, walk in. But man, are you going to change when you do every step of the way. And I'm excited to see what our trials are going to be. Trial 1 in our book is Temptation's Crown. We have been tempted with other offers for our books, our jobs. People asking us to work here, there, whatever. But I just know it's coming. Whatever it is, it's coming. And I've told you, there's one individual. There were 3 individuals that we really wanted to get our book to.
Yeah.
But that one that I just think is us public, like everything that he went through, I think is a lot of what you and I went through in our journeys.
Mm.
Not the same exact topic, but you know what I'm saying. And he stuck with his faith. He
Mhm.
stuck with believing in himself, regardless of the cost. And I think that that's our person. And he's harsh. And that's the
Yeah.
thing too, is that that's a gate,
Yeah.
is when we open that door, if he allows that door to be open to him,
Yeah.
that is a harsh person. But if the door opens, we were worthy of it opening. We have to remember that.
Mm.
All of us have to remember that the door doesn't open if we're not ready and we're not worthy.
And you gotta understand that you are. That's the biggest thing,
Even when
is
you
this
aren't,
whole
you
life
are
like,
like,
that's you wouldn't even be given the thought in your mind that you are or aren't.
Like what that show said that I told you today. The Lord never gives you, God never gives you more than what you can handle. It may feel unbearable. You may die here, but you will never be given more than you can handle. And if you cannot walk, it's like the footprints in the sand. Where were you? I only see one set of footprints.
I was carrying you.
Yeah,
You
you do see one. And look at how steady they were when you weren't there. And it's never resentment. It's never, you owe me a ride.
Yeah.
It's no, that's where you needed a little bit of help.
That's one of my grandma's favorites. I know my mom's it too.
That's
on
my
my
tattoo
grandma's
on my back.
fridge.
That's why I designed that infinity cross with the footprints going around it.
It's on my grandma's fridge. That's
It's my
cool.
grandma Mary's favorite poem. And she's the one that gave me a book that had it. And I went, that's what I want my faith to be like. That and then fearless. That's why those were my first two.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then free. That's what my bird was for. But our lesson with these 4 stories is that worth is proven at the threshold through patience, through strength, through harmony, through loss, through ugly things. And, the person that opens it may be beautiful, may be ugly, may be kind, may be harsh. But the best part is that they are always on our side. Like, think about someone in your life that you're like, they're kind of scary when they're upset. Thank goodness they're on my side. Yeah. And thank goodness that the harshest and the kindest are also on our side. Because it doesn't really matter the evil that hits this world. It'll never beat the evil that's on the other side.
The evil
And
that,
no,
that
I'm not saying that the higher power is evil. I'm saying the darkness that always comes with the good.
Yeah.
Because there can never be greatness. There can never be liberation, happiness, joy without.
Well, think
the
about
suffering.
this. If you are always having a great time, how do you know you're always having a great time? Truly, how mundane would that be if you always won?
Siddhartha Gautama left
What
the
is so
palace hall.
fun about that? What is fun about winning every single time if you don't know what it feels like to lose first? Like, that's one thing. Like, yeah, I'm a big sports fan. I'm not as. I literally, this shift has made me not as much of a sports
You
fan.
are a big sports fan.
But
You're
like,
not
just
a
crazy.
politics fan.
Yeah.
As soon as the sports become more about politics, I've seen you check out because same. I want to watch the game.
Yeah, just have fun
Want to
with
see
it.
the
And
sport.
like,
I see what's happening, but anyways, continue. But I want to kind of
it's
distinguish that.
you don't
always
learn
winning.
anything. Like, this is supposed to be a place where we're learning some sort of lesson. And if I just win and win and win and win, like that's what I feel like my journeys have been. Like, I've won every single time. I've won every single game I played. It's boring, So then let's do a new one.
Mhm.
Let's try it a different way. And then then that could be it. Just finish this one.
Mhm.
Do it the right way and do it with love. And then, even when you're tired, it doesn't have that. Give it a new spin. Give it some new light. Give it some air, because you never know.
Right.
Like, and that's my thing is like, I don't know what if I just give this everything? What could happen for somebody else or myself? I don't know. So I would like to see myself just getting everything I want. That sounds pretty fun. So if it's supposed
But we
to
wanna
be, if
earn
it's
it.
supposed to happen, yeah, exactly. And I do want to earn
And
it.
I
And I
think
want
the
to feel
beautiful
that.
thing for you is earning it in ways that have been kind of pushed down in your past.
Yeah.
Earning it in ways where, I really think that we don't see as many like men chasing the creative arts because they're meant to be the breadwinners, And that's kind of like, okay, well, on your own time. And when that's stifled in anybody, but especially because I know you're, past, it's hard to want to allow it back in. And so to have it been pushed down, and when we first met, you knew I was a writer and I liked writing. And I thought you were making fun of me when you said you wanted to write a book. Like when I was talking about the crystals and energy and that, I was like, okay, it's not funny. Like I genuinely thought
Yeah, I know.
that.
And I was like, I know.
And that was a humbling lesson for me of how dare I just assume that you thought that that was a joke. And I thought that because you were a man. And then I come here and you sharing that with me after it took a minute for you to open up about it. But you opened up 3 or 4 months into our relationship. And then 7 months later, a book was written by us.
Yeah.
You're going to make it in those ways. Those were stifled and you didn't like that they were stifled for a reason. And it was because, this book, we cried in how many chapters? We wrote it.
Yep.
We wrote it. And we knew it was coming. But so our lesson or our thought that we're going to walk away with today, our question is, what must I learn? What is it?
Mhm.
Like you were just saying.
Yeah.
So if you could quit jumping ahead and getting into my head and, predicting, it's almost like you get that there's a topic and theme every day.
Yeah, but I don't pay
Just
attention to that
kidding.
part.
But now what must I learn? And then today, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's hard to make it through any day without opening a door, right?
Yeah, I'd
You
be
could
trapped.
avoid it if you wanted. No, but I mean, if you're in your house and you don't need to go outside, ultimately,
Yeah,
there
but
may
if the
not be a
bathroom
door
door's
to
closed,
open. But today, we're going to pause briefly before we open a door today.
mm,
So we're going to pause briefly in front of it. We could do it like this. I would suggest not doing it at a public place because it's just going to be a smacked in the face. Yeah. So, don't do it somewhere where you're going to get hurt.
yeah.
I would intentionally do it at a meaningful door,
I think
leaving your
just
house
like
or coming
the
in.
first time you leave your house in the day, like where
Mhm.
you're intentionally like not so say you got to get up early in the morning and you let your dogs out. That's one part that I've struggled with. And I don't think that part would it be good to do it for the first time of the day? I believe so, yes. But I don't think this is something. But if you're leaving your house, like going somewhere, try to do that intentionally. Or if you're
Mhm.
not going to leave your house that day, then still open a door or whatever
Right.
with intention, like you're saying.
Right. And that's just it. All we're doing is pausing. That's it. Leave it open after that. I'm not even going to suggest things that could happen when you pause. Whatever happens, happens. We're just going to pause briefly, take a deep breath. You can count, whatever it may be. But anything else that happens during that pause, let us know what happened.
Mm,
I'm not going to give suggestions. I have ideas what might happen with me, but I don't
yeah.
want to say it because I don't want to lead
Cool.
people
Put it
on.
in the comments. I want to hear.
Yeah. So do that for us. And
Do
then
that for yourself.
think about this final application is that worth is proven at the threshold, not beyond it. We aren't proving ourselves when we die. There's
Mm,
something protecting us on our soul's final journey. And that does not mean that the threshold is death. It
no.
does not. I'm not saying that at all. The threshold, though, is a new chapter. It might just be the very thing that gives us life. I mean, crossed into this threshold, and since then, energy has shifted. I mean, this house was like haunted, and now it's like in here. So, is it fleeing to the rooms that we don't go into? So I've
Maybe.
been coming in and this hasn't been moving.
Right.
So is
After
it
we
that
open
we're
the
so
window and
powerful that
stuff.
our energy is
Yeah.
going, no, I said Mark was going to take back this house.
Yeah. You did.
And so I've ripped stuff out.
Yeah.
I've decorated some stuff,
This room, our new the green room. This is our new.
podcasting room.
Not just that. This is
Well,
our.
it's crafting room. It's our therapy room. It's our
It's
creativity room.
yeah. This is. I mean, I'm sure in the video you can see quite a few of our plants that we have, but there's a bunch that you can't see
Mhm.
that are just like that are not even all up yet. But
Yeah.
like above the camera view, there's even more. I love it. It feels good in
You
here.
didn't even have a plant in your house.
Oh,
I remember that was one of the major things for me.
you always said something about it too.
Yeah, when I was,
It was
when we were at that stage, you get to that stage where
okay.
are
Something.
we moving in together or do
Yeah,
I need
because
to
you're
start spending
impatient.
more time at home? Well, when you're paying rent and you have gone there once that whole month to get clothes, it's kind of like, all right. But I had a bunch of plants there. So I had
Yeah.
life there.
Uh,
I wasn't leaving my dogs over there, but you know how much I struggled bringing my dogs over here at the beginning. You even told me I could for a while and I still didn't because I just don't think that anything that doesn't understand when people are leaving or why they're gone should be experiencing that.
right. It
Kids,
makes.
animals, I'm uncomfortable with it. But that was our first day of week 2. What did you think about first day of week 2, the test?
I like it. I just like the way we're going. It truly makes me feel okay with where I'm going and what I'm choosing to do. And it just makes me know that I'm ready. Like
Mhm.
the test for me, I'm ready to show the world. And I believe that's what the test is. And it's the test for myself. Prove it to myself. And I think that's what I'm doing by making a conscious decision to come in here and study and like to do it and not want to stop. Like I haven't wanted to stop once. There hasn't been one time. The only reason I wanted to stop is because I know we have other things to do.
But let's talk about the fact that I'm like seriously been sleeping the past little bit, like couple
Mm,
days.
yeah.
And you've gotten this opportunity to do it. Well, actually, not even the past couple days, today.
Yeah, it was today.
I slept a lot today.
Mm,
And I
thanks.
told you last night, like, I couldn't pick up my head. That's why we didn't do anything outside the stories. I
Yeah, like, so, like,
physically couldn't
if you
do it.
guys don't know and then so, what was cute, though, is she was like, "No, we gotta do something," and then she was talking about posting the stories, and I was like, "Well, why don't we delay it?" Right? Why don't we delay today? We'll wake up really early in the morning and then we'll record because for whatever reason, I have this sweater that I've tried to wear 3 times.
And you said it right before it happened to me.
So whatever happened to her energetically, I said, "Yeah, I finally get to wear the sweater." And she just went boom and her energy just flushed out and she's like, "I can't." And she's like, "Let me take a little nap." So then her little nap, her 5-minute nap, that was supposed to be a 5-minute nap. I let her sleep for like an hour because I made peanut butter cookies and they turned out pretty bomb. But they were the first time I ever made them too. But because I thought I was doing her a favor and letting her sleep and I was doing the thing and making the cookies. And she was like, "No, I really only wanted the 5 minutes," because she knows her body. But who knows? Maybe it's what she needed. Like everything happens for a reason. I truly believe it. So no, I just where we're
Yeah,
going
and I
is
just woke up and, we wanted to you wanted to delay it, but, we promised an episode a day.
yeah, and that
And
part,
so
that's where I was trying to go with
it's
it.
okay for us to have felt that.
Yeah, to feel the energy and to understand, oh, this part's done. Let's at least do this
Mhm.
because this is what we promised. And then to go back and see why. Like I had a lot to say about the stuff from that episode, but I think, like what you were saying is we'll do the recaps. And then if somebody has a question, it's like, hey, because I have some like really fun stuff that I wanted to say about that
And
episode.
that's what I thought too was why did it have to be those stories? Like,
Because
it
they're
couldn't have
good.
been a day that
Like
we were
a
like,
story that
"Man."
I was like, and there are
Well,
some
yeah, what was
stories.
it yesterday? It
Though
was the
was
step.
well, yeah, and the
Or no, no,
one
no, was
story
it?
where I didn't even know
No, no,
like
no, it
was
was the
real life.
choice. It was 2 days ago.
And it was, yeah. And the fact that one of the stories I didn't even know it was like a folklore. I thought it was just a Disney movie.
Mulan, yeah.
Yeah, I remember after she read the story, I was like, "Wait, I thought that was just a Disney one." So, like I say all the time, how I learn stuff, like that was one of them. So I believe that happened for a reason, just like everything else.
Well, and we wouldn't have given it justice.
So
We were
anytime I
both
decide to wear
excited.
that orange sweater, where I'm like, I'm gonna wear this today, we're just not gonna record. I think, and there's a reason.
Yeah, it was bad. I even thought, like, I couldn't even power through. I couldn't
No,
even
like,
pick
right,
up
you
my
tried,
head.
and then you thought I was upset. I was like, "No," because like, that was another thing I was trying to say is, like, I believe so much in the energy, like, when something's that I could be frustrated in the moment, yeah, and you could feel the frustration, but it doesn't mean I'm upset with the person, and that's one thing, I truly wanna get across is in my everyday life, like, people might feel like I'm frustrated with them or mad at them, and it's truly not. It's just with the situation. Well, with you in general, like there's probably other people I get frustrated with. But with you, like with stuff like that, no, why would I be mad at something where it's an energy thing? Something said, hey, don't.
Well, and
Why?
then earlier
I have a really good thought in my head of to why I think, and I think it's gonna end up, I know it's gonna be a big thing, but in a good way with us only posting the stories. I truly think
I think so too.
it's
I
gonna be
thought that
like
this morning.
people are gonna be like,
But then
"Mm,
I even slept in, and
mm,
I may have moved a couple times. I move so much during the night. I barely sleep. I mean, the night before I got what, 4 hours? And that's pretty common,
yeah,
for one of us at least. But I've really been struggling lately, and then last night I finally was like, "I need the weighted blanket. I
yeah."
need something to pin my shoulders because my pain has been so bad." And I just was out. I don't even think I got to kiss you like good night. I was just out.
I did. I kissed you. I made sure to kiss you.
Okay. But then today I was feeling all right, moving around, and then just got hit with that and just took a nap.
Yeah,
But it was because I truly believe Mark needs to be doing this right now.
yeah,
Because when I heard you and when I said just 5 more minutes, but then I heard you turn it on, part of me was like, thank you. Like I really was. And I think you knew it. I think you knew I wasn't going to get up because I could feel the vibration, like that healing feeling on my back. I was not going to get up
yeah. I
from
did
that.
some energy work on her.
And then we
It's
found
tough.
that, like, what is it? The CBD lotion. And that felt pretty good too. But yeah, I think that's what it was. I believe that's what it was. It was just,
Yeah, don't force
I
things.
push when you're at work because I'm like, cool, for something, I'm up. I can do a lot today. I can get a lot done, kind of wind down when Mark comes home. But then on the weekends, like you've been diving into that. I'm not going to be making a bunch of noise when you're doing that. And today, I just really felt Mark needs to do this and you need to not be in the way.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why I
Your body needs a
chose
break and
the
his
biggest
mind needs
reason,
this.
that's why I chose not to go watch Malia's game, and as hard as that was, like, you know me, and I don't think Malia truly understands how hard that was for me, as her dad, to not go and watch her play today. Like, that was hard for me. But this is more important. I'll have other games I can watch. I truly need to get this done, I feel, now.
Mm,
Like, it's something I have to get done now.
right.
And then moving forward, it's gonna be beneficial for
Mhm.
everybody.
And if she watches this, we're not saying this, he's not at all talking about this podcast. It's his classes and his healing
Yeah.
that he's talking about. This podcast could have absolutely taken a break, right?
Yeah,
Just like
and
it
we
did for
coulda
me
yeah,
yesterday. We could post a whole week of stories just to go watch
yeah,
like your girls play. You know, that's not what's more important. It's the healing aspect. I just want to
right.
clarify that in
Thank
case you
you.
guys see that.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. I appreciate
No,
that.
as fun as it was, has a hard time focusing, was able to listen to the stories to your work and still watch your game.
Yeah, I
So
was
you were
still able to
watching, you were
follow.
still able to talk to her mom, and
Yeah,
you guys had some fun like interaction back and forth. So that was good
yeah,
because I'm sure she felt that.
mhm.
And our physical presence isn't always needed to be felt.
Yeah,
And
because
yours certainly isn't needed to be felt
yeah, because
because you love deeply
yeah.
and you project it like you intentionally do. And let me say this because you mentioned it earlier. So I want to be intentionally projecting it in the sense that his girl, in pain. She just got braces on. She's in pain. I told you, I've been there.
Mm.
She's not going to want to be playing probably with how much pain she was in. I didn't think that she would want to be go, go, go. And then she gets hit and we saw the hit. Ooh,
Sounded good,
it
yes.
felt like pain. And of course it was in her upper body. So I felt it and was like, huh. But that before she went up to the next bat, you went and you were like, I need to meditate. I just sat there, give you your space. She hits the ball and gets on base her next step back.
2 RBI,
Yeah.
I believe. She hit in 2
Our
over.
presence isn't needed to be felt.
Yeah.
I mean, point blank. And yeah, it sucks. I mean, I had my parents working the boosters because other parents didn't want to. So they wanted to watch their kids while their kids sat the bench and I played. There were times that my parents missed games.
That's so sad.
And you know what? They were always there though.
Mhm.
They were there even when they weren't able to. And they made, the games. Not all of them, but they were there, for the important ones at the end of my career, high school, middle school was whatever.
Right.
But it just goes to show that it made me think today, I wonder how many times my parents went and prayed for me. And I know it must have been a lot when I was in pain my last 2 years. That girl is probably, I mean, she's in pain, but she got to let out a little bit of that anger. And she did that. And I bet she's like, show my dad I can hit. Next time, triple, like, because that's
Yeah.
who she is. And so, yeah, that's where we're at today. And it's exciting that we're in the test because, yeah, we're waiting for that door to open. We want it to open. And we're like, why am I even standing in front of a door if I was called to do this? If I'm meant to do this, if I have a
Mhm.
voice that's meant to lead people, why am I struggling? Why isn't it
Yeah.
happening?
'Cause you're
Because
not
you have
choosing
the
to do it?
gifts. You have the gifts, but can you use them right? We talked
Yeah.
about the power of voice, right?
Yeah.
Are we willing to use them? And it starts with benefiting others.
Yeah.
It truly didn't matter whether she hit the ball or not. That's not why you went and meditated. But look at what happened because you did. And who knows? You meditating for her could have helped the people that were there. Could have projected onto her mom who was like, no, she's going to get it this time.
Yeah.
And that could have been the push, was both of you guys. But I'm excited because we're here at the test. And tomorrow we get to see the tricksters. We've
Ooh.
seen a few of them before, but now we get to see them in their full trickster mentality. Some tests are fun, some are harsh, some are not at all what we expect, and some don't even look like tests, but we're testing it for a reason. And so we'll see you guys tomorrow. And that's all that I really have for today. But see you guys.
Thanks for coming in. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.